Yeah, roll.
We're rolling? Okay, whenever you like, Dom. Hello and welcome to the music show on ABC Radio National. I'm Andrew Ford, and as you can hear, we're going to have some blues because that is Dom Turner playing his guitar. Thank you very much indeed, Dom Turner, for giving us the theme to this week's music show. Dom Turner isn't here alone. He's with two other members of the Backsliders, Rob Hurst on drums and playing harmonica, Ian Collard. And they've got a new album out, the Backsliders. And not only do they have a new album, but they're also 25 years old, and their entire back catalogue has been released, which makes, I think, probably everybody in this room feel fairly ancient. Let's have a song from the new album and then we'll have a chat. This is called Flannelette Border.
They're frightening the children, they're twisting all the facts, they're pushing down the standards, the train's running off its track. They say everything is broken, that nothing's any good. Everyone is lying in this neighborhood. The media's a hero, yeah, terrifying all. Disasters are welcome here, yeah, they start a ratings war. Trying to keep order on the Flannelette border. Reporting on people in grief, like ghouls at the mine shaft, devils on the scene, parents still in mourning, get prodded on sight about a bad day of feeling. How will they ever survive? How much will you miss him? How bad does it feel? What would you say to him? How will you ever hear? Will you ever forget him? As long as you live, will you ever remarry? What about got the kids. Flannelette border. They're trying to keep order on the Flannelette border. Just trying to keep order on the Flannelette border. Just trying to keep order.
Flannelette Border, that was called. That was the Backsliders, and they were performing live on today's music show. We heard the voice and guitar of Dom Turner, the drums, and indeed the voice of Rob Hurst, and playing the harmonica was Ian Collard. Thank you very much indeed. Tell us about the song.
The Flannelette Border. Okay, well, it's actually, the name of this one is Flannelette Border Wretch Revisited, because we did a song a number of years ago called Wretch Like Me, which is essentially about, a running theme of shock jocks, as well as the media taking on a sort of a fear tactic with the general population. And so this is just another one in that theme, trying to keep order. How topical. Yeah, it is actually at the moment. Yeah, well, it seems to be a constant thing. The lyrics mainly stem from watching all of these various TV news programs where they're forever sticking microphones in front of people at their, usually in a time of extreme grief when, somebody has died or, something horrible has happened to them, and then asking them questions like, will you ever, how are you going to get over this, and particularly how bad do you feel? It's one of those questions that you hear reporters using all the time, and it's one that particularly annoys me. So put it into a song.
Yes. There's nothing like being annoyed to kind of inspire a song,
That's
is there?
exactly right.
The new album is called Starvation Box. I think you need to tell us about that title as well.
It's a phrase that apparently Wes Ledbetter, who was Huddy Ledbetter's father, the famous Leadbelly, he used it to refer to Leadbelly's guitar and saying that this is your starvation box. In other words, you're not going to make any money out of this thing.
Oh, I see.
And in some ways he was right, because when Leadbelly died in 1949, a year later, the Weavers made an international hit with his song Goodnight Irene, and they made a lot of money, and Leadbelly didn't see any of that, obviously. So, and the reason for having a bit of a theme of, Leadbelly and Starvation Box and that sort of it's kind of Southern American thing, aside from us being a blues band, but on this album we tried to write songs that contained lyrics about these blues musicians, aside from the last one that you heard, as well as songs by the musicians themselves. So the album features songs by Leadbelly and other blues musicians as well.
Yes. And your albums typically have had themes to them, haven't they? You've sort of focused on I remember there was a Mississippi Fred McDowell one.
Yeah, it's not really out yet, but it's it is available. It's like a pre-release album that actually Ian and I did, which was a theme of Mississippi Fred McDowell. Right. But that'll be coming out later on in the year. The
people that you celebrate in your songs tend to be the Delta blues musicians.
Yeah.
But the sound of the Backsliders is a much bigger sound. The vulnerability of a lot of the blues isn't something that you go to very often.
We take the approach that artists such as, say, Howling Wolf or R.L. Burnside used to take, which is they're taking the raw Mississippi blues, but they were presenting it in a sort of a tough city form. And we sort of do that sort of thing as well. Although on this new album we have stripped back a few songs and we've done one by Leadbelly where it's stripped back to very much basics, and in fact features Rob not on a drum kit on that one.
What are you doing on that one, Rob?
I've been relegated to the washboard, Andy.
Oh, have you brought the washboard in today?
I have.
Fantastic. I mean,
Would you like something washed?
Are you going to use it in the second?
I'm going to abuse it tonight. Vanguard.
No, but I'm just wondering whether maybe you could demonstrate it for us. If you're not going to, if you're not actually going to play it in the second tune that you do.
Well, actually, when Rob joined the band, one of the things that he said, I won't play Washboard, and I don't do hat, is another one.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I can't do it on this guitar. But relax your mind, relax your mind. It take a great long time. One time, you got to relax your mind.
But is that in any sense a genuine washboard? I mean, could you wash your clothes with this?
Absolutely. In fact, this was given to members of Midnight Oil by the Pale Riders. I don't know whether you've ever had the Pale Riders in.
No, don't think so.
Great three-piece band from Tasmania that toured with the Oils years and years ago. And I'm just cleaning out all my bits and pieces and found it, and it's the best sounding washboard. It gets your clothes just sparkling as well.
And what do you wear thimbles on your fingers?
I have a thimble singular.
One thimble.
It's
Right.
the only one I could find in the green
Okay,
bag.
but normally you would have a couple, would you?
Couple,
and you'd get a wow. It's a wonderful sound.
There's a few people around that are excellent members of, I think, Mick Conway's band.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
They
Yes.
set a high standard.
Indeed. Are you really 25 years old, Backslider?
Actually, the end of this year will be 25 years old. Yeah, all of those years ago in late 1986, we did our very first gig. I don't even remember where it was, to be honest, where the first gig was. We put out our first album in 87. I've been sort of playing ever since, basically doing the same sorts of festivals and gigs that we were doing then, which has been great.
The back catalogue is all coming out. You're going to be able to buy all of the Backsliders albums. Did this influence the new album at all? I mean, did you see this as some sort of summing up of the story so far?
Yes and no. The release of the back catalogue, not really. But when you're thinking about each album, the idea is you don't want to do the same thing over and over again, particularly for 25 years. So we were thinking about the fact that in our live show, we have been doing a section of the show where we do a few songs around one microphone. So it's fairly quiet. It's completely acoustic, just for 2 or 3 songs. So I think that sort of influenced us in recording this album, because we thought, well, we could take that approach. We ended up doing that approach on 1, maybe 2 songs, and then others we did a bit of a lighter approach, mixed in with our usual heavy-handed approach as well. So, so in some ways, yeah, you're right. It's covering all bases on this album.
And onwards and upwards?
Yeah, we've got to start thinking about next year, and possibly working on a new album for then. Yeah, definitely onwards and upwards. That's for sure.
You're going to do another song from the album called Emmett Till. Now, some of our listeners will need reminding who Emmett Till was.
So Emmett Till was actually a feature of the civil rights movement in a way, because of the fact Emmett Till was a 14-year-old boy who was brutally murdered in Mississippi, and the 2 killers were set free by the jury and basically lived out their lives in Mississippi. So it was very, very controversial at the time, and it's one of those horror stories.
It's a horrible story.
It's a horrible story, and it's one of those stories that at the time obviously disturbed people internationally, and it's just one of those stories that should never really be forgotten, and it's something that can and probably does happen today as well. So with this album having a theme of sort of the past and looking at these past musicians, we thought we'd sort of introduce another element of sort of Mississippi history by reminding people of something that should never happen again, essentially. So this is the story of Emmett Till.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Emmett Till, he's just a child in those hills. Emmett Till, was just a child in those hills. Had dreams and hopes for the future, like every young boy should. Yeah, every young boy should. Yeah, every young boy should. Emmett Till, just a boy of 14 years. Emmett Till, cried a lifetime of tears. He'd wake up every morning to the thrill of each dawn. Dreams and hopes for the future, as every young boy should. Yeah, every young boy should. Every young boy should. Yeah, the summer of 55, Emmett Till told on his son, segregation's over, but you take care, my precious one. He went to visit his family out near the Tallahatchie Bridge. He had dreams and hopes for the future, like every young boy should. He had dreams and hopes for the future, like every young boy should. Just a young boy, he stood tall in his own skin. Yeah, the preacher said the boy stood tall like a man. Yeah, Emmett lost his life in the name of hate. Yeah, the penalty varies, yeah, from race to race. Yeah, they live a dark life behind the farce of the law that protects weak men. He took the life of a child, yeah, men with no heart, men with no soul, not a thread of remorse, yeah, not a thread of remorse. Yeah, what evil's been done can never be taken away. A crime that grows even more hideous each day. As the story's retold, more people recoil. The jury set killers free to walk the streets of our world. Yeah, the jury set killers free to walk the streets of Emmett's world.
Great, thank you very much indeed.
Oh, great. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Great. All right. Thanks a lot, Andy.
All the best.
See you again.
Want to get a picture just together?
Yes, please.
Little, I think they wanted one of you and a little promo all together.